All right. Darling. Okay. All right. Happy Thursday Eve. I hope you all are well. Thank you for hanging out late with me today. I don't know about you all, but um yeah, a lot has been going on. A lot has been going on and of course the astrology lines up, but a lot has been going on and with every drop of these Epstein files, I am coming to a conclusion, something that I knew before, but it just really, really set in. And this is just for me. This is just for me. Um, you know, Let me just say that I understand why in the Christian Bible, I understand why um the Christian God sent the flood. I absolutely understand why the Christian God sent the flood to wipe everything out because the way that um what we are told and what's really going on are two different things in life, right? Um, yeah, and it's just wild. It's just wild. So, yeah, let me say hello to everyone before we get into some things that I found. D Dub, hey Mons, hey Starry Eyed Girl, PN2 Ross, hey, let's talk about it all, boo. Hey, boo. Hey, Isis, Sweet Isis Silhouette. Hey, Burry Muffin. I love that name and I love your profile pic. Look at them curls, girl. Look at them glasses, girl. Hey, man, you look good. ACS, ACM1. Yeah, Burry Muffin says, I watched a documentary on the sick evil monster, and in my opinion, Ghislaine was worser. Listen, I can't tell you how many internet tabs I have open right now because, in addition to some of my own personal research that I do on the side, like I have my Safari browser has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. My Safari browser has 11 tabs open. My Chrome browser has I don't know how many open. um, yeah, yeah. So, like I said, we're gonna get into some things. And listen, I have been looking through things. This last drop on January 31st, the last file drop was what, 3 million items? So there is no way to really look through everything. And a lot of things are duplicates. But but yeah. And I don't even know where to start. So we are just going to dive right in. Yes, yes. I have come to the conclusion that again, like for me, and I say this as generally as possible, we need a new planet. We need a new planet because the fact of the matter is that people who control things are not going to stop doing this bullshit. We need a new planet. We need a new planet. If it were up to me, I'd send everyone with dispositions to this type of garbage to, I would pump them into the sun. I would pump them, straight out into space, into the Oort cloud. Um, but I don't control the planet, and I have no ability to punt all these people into outer space. So yeah, and let me just say this: Q is speaking for herself. You all have to come to your own conclusions when you dig through things, if you choose to dig through things. And let me tell you, there were some nights that I was getting dizzy reading some of this. And the biggest thing that I want you all to understand is that when it comes to these quote unquote Epstein files, it's not just about the depravity that humans do to each other. This isn't just about, and I think that's part of the thing that people are missing is that this is not just about women and girls that were trafficked. This is not just about women and girls who were raped. This is not just about women and girls who were abused and or tortured, right? It's not just about that. This is about really seeing and understanding the world in a general sense for what it is. And honestly, I'm ready to get off this planet. I'm ready to get off this planet. Um, Let me just say that um, we, as in those of us who are decent people, we're surrounded by degenerates. We are surrounded by degenerates. We are surrounded by people who are degenerates and degenerate protectors. And we are surrounded by people who, um, if you're not with them, then you're nothing. Okay. And let me just say that again, I'm going to say it again. And I've been seeing a lot of people breaking down the and part of this is astrologically relevant. Let me just say this. So for the past year or so, Saturn, the planet Saturn and the planet Neptune have been in a dance in the sign of Pisces. Remember I told you all that this year, 2026, we're going to have an exact conjunction of Saturn and Neptune. So what is this? Q, what does this mean? Too long, didn't read. This means the overall global, depending on how it affects people in a chart, but the overall global um understanding that reality is not what you think it is. Overall global erosion of having faith in your governments. Overall global erosion of hoping that people will do the right thing. Okay? Because make no mistake about it, and I'm not speaking legally. I am not an attorney general. I'm not a prosecutor for the United States. I'm not part of the DOJ. But let me just say that people have been sitting on this and people aren't doing anything about this. Capitalism, unfettered, unregulated capitalism is going to be the death of this planet. And it just may really wipe out the human race. So I say all that to say, energetically, we are in a time right now where people are questioning everything. So it is no coincidence. And let me just show you why there's no coincidence. Let me just pull up a chart for right now. Okay. Matter of fact, no, let me not do that. Let me go to Jeffrey Epstein's chart. Let me go to Jeffrey Epstein's chart. Let me just add this in real quick because I want you all to understand why things are happening right now. Okay. Um, what did I tell you all? Right now, okay, this is Jeffrey Epstein's natal chart. I want you all to focus right here. Jeffrey Epstein was born during a Saturn Neptune conjunction. He was born during a Saturn Neptune conjunction. Okay. This is where he was born. He was born during a Saturn Neptune conjunction in Libra. Okay, Libra is ruled by what planet? Venus. So nefarious shit, the erosion of borders, the erosion of rules, law, order, the erosion of consequences, shit that he was doing, okay, in his public house, 10th house, shit that he was doing to women and to other people and shit. He was born during a Saturn Neptune conjunction, okay? Now let me click in the chart for right now, okay? Right now, and let me remove this. We can see what? Saturn Neptune conjunction. This shit was meant to come out, and it was meant to come out because we, the people, as a global humanity, we, the people, have to decide what we are going to put up with, how we are going to deal with this. So, astrologically, it all clicks. Okay. Astrologically, it all clicks. So, I say that to say that we are at the precipice. We are at the precipice of whatever is going to come because Saturn is moving into Aries and that conjunction is still going to be there next week. But I say that to say, humanity, we have to figure it out. We have to figure it out. But again, we're here on a planet with degenerates and degenerate protectors. So, and this shit is across all boards. All this shit is made up. I mean, like, what is reality? What is reality? Okay. What is reality? And we have to figure out what that means. So let me start getting into some of these files. Let me start getting into some of these files. Again, now let me also say this. I am not accusing anyone of anything. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. Nothing I say here is legal. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I am just presenting this information. Just presenting the information. Okay? Just presenting the information. All right. And let me just check something out real quick. Let me just make sure that 1 second. Let me just make sure that I have things set up the way that I want them on the back end. Because yeah. Yeah. Yeah, hold on 1 second. I know you lying. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right, y'all. Again, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but let's get into it. Let me share this page. Let me share this. All right. Documents come in. Share screen. Window. Chrome tab. And these are things that I have pulled exactly from these files. Okay, I need 303. 303. Okay. All right. Again, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. We just looking. Okay. Let's get into it. Let me make this bigger so that everyone can see. Okay, this is a document that was filed April 26, 2016. Okay. United States District Court, Central District of California, Katie Johnson, the plaintiff, versus who? Again, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. We just looking. Complaint for claim relief due to 1, sexual abuse under threat of harm, conspiracy to deprive civil rights. She, plaintiff, for causes of actions against the current sitting president, and Jeffrey Epstein alleges as follows. Okay. Okay, Okay. Sexually and physically abusing plaintiff Johnson by forcing her to engage in various perverted and depraved sex acts by threatening physical harm to her and her family. The plaintiff alleges that the defendants, current sitting president, and Epstein also did willfully with extreme malice violate her civil rights by making her their sex slave. And listen, if you need to take a moment away from this, if you need to spiritually cleanse after this, feel free to do so because it's a lot and it's very heavy. It's very heavy, including forcible grape during a 4-month time span covering the months of June to September 1994 when the plaintiff was still a minor of the age 10 plus 3. On the first occasion involving, allegedly, the current sitting president, Katie Johnson was forced to manually stimulate said person with the use of her hand upon the penis until sexual climax was reached. Plaintiff also claims that she was forced to orally copulate by placing her mouth on the defendant's erect penis until climax was reached. She also claims she was forced to engage in unnatural lesbian adult activities with fellow minor slave Maria Doe, age 12. Age 12. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. We're just looking at these things. We just looking. We just looking. Please come in. Please like the video. And like I said, we're not going to be going through everything because we cannot go through everything. But I'm just going to be presenting some things that are interesting. And I'm going to keep presenting things that are interesting. Okay. Okay. After they were forced to do things to each other, both children were forced to orally copulate, said defendants, simultaneously. Okay. On the fourth and final encounter, and I'm still recovering, I still have a slight cough. On the fourth encounter, the plaintiff said she was tied to a bed by the defendant, who then proceeded to forcibly grape the plaintiff. She was begging for the defendant to please wear a condom. The plaintiff claims that the defendant responded violently by striking the plaintiff in the face with his open hand and saying he could do whatever he wants. After climaxing, the defendant put his clothes back on, and the plaintiff, in tears, asked the defendant what would happen if he impregnated her. And the defendant is alleged to have grabbed his wallet, threw some money at her, and said that she should use the money to get a fucking abortion. Like I said, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just, these are files. This is a file. And this if you want to look it up yourself, this is the file number. Okay, I'm not hiding anything. That's the file number. Okay? This is the file number. Okay, so this the other defendant, the one that's deceased, Jeffrey Epstein, has said, um, they said that plaintiff said that the two defendants were arguing over who would be the one to take plaintiff Johnson's virginity. The defendant, that person there, 45, 47, was clearly heard referring to defendant Epstein as a Jew bastard, and he yelled at Epstein that clearly he should be the lucky one to pop the cherry of plaintiff Johnson. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, I'm just reading. Okay. Okay. So while receiving, and it goes into something else, the plaintiff also alleges that defendant Epstein attempted to enter her anal cavity while trying to restrain her. And then the plaintiff says that he attempted to enter the vagina. So yeah, the plaintiff, we're down here at number 17. We're down here. The plaintiff was fully warned on more occasion by both defendants that if she were to ever reveal any of the details of the physical and sexual abuse that she had suffered as an alleged slave for the defendants, that she and her family would be in mortal danger. Plaintiff Johnson warned this would mean certain death for herself and her family unless she remained silent forever on the exact details of the depraved and perverted sexual physical abuse she had been forced to endure from the defendants. Okay. Yeah. 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 That was one thing that I found. And we're just gonna be moving through things because I found so many different things. I literally just don't know where to start. Um, let's go to this tab instead. And of course, certain people's names were redacted. But this is a special agent, child exploitation and human trafficking task force, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Okay, we're gonna make this bigger so everyone can see. Are you able to send me the full in talk report? We need to interview regarding the blank allegations. Okay, the special agent's name was blocked out. Okay. This was either sent or created August 25th, August 7th of 2025. We can see that there. Let me make it a little bit bigger because I don't want nobody to say, Q, you just okay. Okay. And the file number is here in case anyone wants to look at it themselves. This is the file number. Okay. Okay. Please see below with criminal history and disposition. I am reaching out to get clarification in response to this is redacted. Okay. Blank reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral sex allegedly on the current sitting president of the United States approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred. The friend allegedly bit current sitting president while performing oral sex. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting him. The friend says she was also abused by Epstein. Okay, and the response, the plain summary, the response spoke with caller who identified blah 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 as a friend. Okay, was sent to Washington office to conduct an interview. Blank reported she has a friend, Blank, who was personal assistant to Epstein in Florida from 1986 until 1991 or 92. This friend shared names of some of the guests at Epstein's parties to include Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, I'm just reading. Okay, so the left voicemails, no response. At age 16 while modeling, caller attending 16 while modeling. Okay, this is why you got to watch your cheering. Those of you who are parents, I know you watch your children like a hawk. And you know, like in the black community, we don't do no sleepovers. We don't do none of that. And I'm not blaming anyone, but I'm just saying this is it's a sick world out here. And I'm really glad that I don't have children because it's a sick fucking world out here. At age 16, while modeling, the caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, she reported she was sexually assaulted by Epstein. Another occasion, 2 twin brothers lured caller and her friend upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Caller said that one of them raped her best friend. Okay. Caller named other individuals involved in big orgy parties with her, with other girls and older Victoria's Secret models, including allegedly Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Allegedly. Now, this is out here, and I was reading this because you have to understand when you start getting into the nitty gritty, the Lex Wexner brands, Victoria's Secret, Abercrombie and Fitch, are alleged to have been or are trafficking rings. Okay, those brands. Okay, if you remember, those of you who are old enough, you remember Abercrombie and Fitch at the mall. If you watch the Abercrombie and Fitch documentary on Netflix, okay, having those barely legal, according to the documentary on Netflix, barely legal, almost there, children posing because Abercrombie and Fitch sold clothes, but a lot of their posters were of semi-nude, allegedly cheering. Okay, I'm just saying. You got to go watch that on Netflix yourself. Les Wexner brands. Okay. Now let's get back to this. One complainant reported she was a victim and witness to a sex trafficking ring at the Trump Golf Course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California, between 95 and 96. Complainant reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for sex parties, clients of whom including Epstein, Robin Leach, and Donald Trump. Complainant reported participating in orgies and as some girls went missing, rumored to have been murdered and buried at the facility. I'm not saying that these people were. I'm not saying anything is at this man's properties. I'm not saying that at all. We're just reading. Complainant reported being threatened by his then head of security that if she ever talked of what went on there or who she saw, that she would end up as fertilizer for the back 9 holes like the other cunts. Now, here's one thing that I want to say, because when people and women specifically come forward with claims of abuse, a lot of times we are not believed. And it says here, complainant was spoken to and deemed not credible. And I don't know what they have blanked out here, but if she's not credible, then why blank this out? Victims are rarely believed. Women, sometimes you go to the doctor, you're not feeling good, they tell you to lose weight. They tell you, oh, it's just your hormones. Oh, you're crazy. Back in the day when women were having mental breakdowns and stuff, they wanted to lobotomize you, they want to put you in the crazy people mental facility hospital. People are never believed. So a complaint was spoken to here and deemed not credible. I wonder why. And if you were watching social media this past week, this is where Robin Leach is allegedly in here. Robin Leach, was that Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous? Was that his show? Let me Google real quick. Let me just hit go up real quick. Um Robin Leach. Yeah. He had the TV show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous from 1984 to 1995. What did this person say? Okay, 1995, 96. So that was a very popular show. The time frame um matches up. His show ran from 1984 to 1995. 1995. I'm not saying he did it. I'm just saying the time frame matches up. Okay. It was something down here. It's this so much. This is a whole this is an investigation. This is an investigation. And part of this right here uh kind of took me out. Kind of took me out. I am not claiming anyone did anything. We're just looking at the files. We're going to read right here. In 2004 or 2005, Sir Ivan Wilsey hosted a party where Epstein, Sammy Sosa, and Donald Trump were in attendance. Patti LaBelle's PR agent stood at the door at the party. Caller met an individual who was approximately 18 to 23 years of age, who was brought from Oklahoma for a modeling job, but then sold to a man in France. Trafficking. Alleged trafficking. Several women were being auctioned, and a woman, possibly known as Colette, was the madam. A couple of years later, she saw Colette at the Cheetah Club in New York, and she told one of Santos' friends that Jamie Foxx was interested in spending the night with her and he could pay her a lot of money. I'm not saying anybody did anything, I'm just reading. What took me out was this. Let's all read it together. This current sitting president had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls, allegedly. And Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in, and the current sitting president would auction them off. He allegedly measured the children's vulva and vaginas by entering a finger and rated the children on tightness. The guests were elder men and included Elon Musk, Don Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Aaron Trump was there. Attorney Alan Dershowitz was also there with attorney Bob Shapiro. We were taken into rooms, forced to give oral sex to this person who was president at the time, forced to allow them to penetrate us. I was 13-year-old when the alleged current sitting president, Great Me Ghislaine Maxwell, was also present, measuring children's vulva and vaginas by entering a finger and rating the children on tightness. Everyone, please come in. We're just reading. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. We're just reading. I need for y'all to sit with that for a second. Let me stir up my carnitas because I'm making carnitas. I'm making dinner. Right? Jupiter's son says she needs some more medicinal assistance. I understand. I understand. I understand. Okay. So, so yeah, I was yeah. There's another one here. Complainant reported that his ex-girlfriend were alleged victims of Epstein, and one was unalived. I'm not accusing anything of anybody of anything. We're just reading. Just reading. Just reading. Just reading. Okay. Just reading. This is some of the depravity. Like I said, you know, we live in a world full of degenerates. We live in a world full of degenerates. Let's look at this one. This is a little less this is a little less bad. I mean, all of it's bad, but okay, and this is from the files. This is the file number here in case anyone wants to look at it themselves. Torture. So this is case ID. This is the case ID for New York. Epstein, Jeffrey, alleged sex trafficking. I mean, the trafficking is real. Enclosed are the following items: graphic capture of viral video. Now, I did not look at, I have seen some of the video files coming out. Not video files. I've seen some of the picture files completely against my will. But I am not going to look at any video files and some of these picture files are absolutely disgusting. But yeah, this is still degenerate shit. On July 12th, 2020, Dale Martin, date of birth, called the FBI National Threat Operations Center to report a viral video of what appears to be Jeffrey Epstein torturing a young woman with a magnifying glass. Dale Martin provided the following information. Martin's daughter, Jessica McQueen, date of birth blank, sent Martin a piece of a video of what appeared to be a young white female aged 11 to 13 years old with dark colored hair, tied down and naked. The victim is tied to the ground and spread eagle with a man who appears to be Jeffrey Epstein holding a magnifying glass with a claw and burning the victim. Martin described the video as being blurry. However, the male subject appeared to be a very large man with gray hair wearing jeans, blah, 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 blah. Martin stated Facebook would not take the video down. In the frame of the video, it says Epstein, however, is blurry. Martin advised that McQueen did not feel comfortable reporting the information. However, her friends are reporting it. Like I said, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. We're just looking at things. Now, some other things that I saw, I want you all to understand that the things in these files, again, maybe maybe you had an idea, maybe you had an inkling of the world and the world that we truly live in. When you realize that nothing is real, it does something to you. Like, I'm a spiritual worker or whatnot. And for me, I do magic, I do my spiritual work. I do my best to help myself, family, friends. I try to teach you all some things that you can do to help yourself. But when you understand that everything is fake, it really does something to you. Epstein's island is Little St. James. Little St. James is a small key and is part of the United States Virgin Islands. Okay. Little St. James. Okay. So, yeah. So, when I say that shit ain't real, this is what I mean. Now, I say this because in these files, including some of the stuff that was dropped last year, I think it was like November, October or November, when some stuff was released last year. I was looking through some of that stuff too. And I had screenshots and stuff, and I'm still looking through some of that. Here's what I mean when shit is not real. Let's look at this. Let's look at this tab. And what we're looking at right now is from this recent January 31st, 2026 drop. This is the file number. Okay. This is the file number here. Let's zoom in so everyone can see. Hey, Kevin. Okay. And there are so many duplicates and stuff in here. And let me see if I find the other one. Where's the other one? Okay. This right here. These people are playing with our lives. Now, I am not a citizen of the UK. I'm not British, but these people are playing with our lives. A lot of stuff is jumbled up, but you know, when they say that he was in contact with so many different people, absolutely. This is Jeffrey Epstein, Sunday, June 26, 2016, to Peter Thiel. Jeffrey to Peter Thiel says Brexit, just the beginning. Peter Thiel, okay, because look at the timestamps from 3:17 a.m. on Sunday, June 26, 2016, 7:04 a.m. on June 26, 2016. Peter Thiel says, of what? Jeffrey Epstein to Peter Thiel. Okay, same dates. Now it's 11:13. Return to tribalism, counter to globalization, making new alliances. You and I both agreed zero interest rates were too high. And as I said in your office, okay, so Jeffrey Epstein has met this man. Finding things on their way to collapse was much easier than finding the next bargain. These are people collapsing political structures, collapsing governments, and setting things in motion behind the scenes in order to make money. Return to tribalism, which is counter to globalization. Do you understand what that means? This means all of this that we are seeing, don't want immigrants here. You don't want these people here. These people need to leave the country. These people are illegal. This is part of the same conversation that was had and is still being had over in Europe. These people were manipulating things and going into chat rooms and on Reddit and all like that, fanning the flames to get Britain to leave the European Union. Return to tribalism, which means what? Everybody picking their team. They are and have been manipulating all of us into picking our teams. Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, on the left, on the right, commie, Republican. We don't want these immigrants here. These people don't belong in our countries. They are doing these things behind the scenes. And this is what I need people to understand. It is not us versus all these people. And this is the same conversations that we are having in the United States. What is the conversation? Oh, look at these democratic shithole states, democratic shithole cities. Look at all this corruption happening in Democrat cities. Look at all this happening in Republican states. I don't believe you because you're a woke leftist scum, radical leftist scum. I don't believe you because you're a Trumper and you have Trump derangement syndrome. This shit is not real. None of this is real. All of this is being orchestrated and all of us are being played. I want you all to understand this. I want you all to really, really understand this. They are playing us. Jeffrey Epstein and people like him, they are playing all of us to keep us divided and fighting amongst each other so we don't see the bullshit that they are doing. Read it again. Return to tribalism, counter to globalization. Because if you isolate yourself off into groups, you are easier to control. I want y'all to put a 1 in the chat if you understand this. Because all of this shit is a facade. It's all an illusion. They are playing us. And this is part of why, remember, it was said that if these files were released, it could take down countries. Well, shit, this is why. Because none of this shit is real. I want you all to understand that this shit isn't real. We, as people who are not them, need to wake up and come together so we can deal with this shit. So we can deal with and fight the people who are doing this shit to us. None of this shit is real. All this shit is manufactured. Return to tribalism, counter to globalization. You and I both agreed zero interest rates were too high. And as I said in your office, finding things on their way to collapse was much easier than finding the next bargain. Collapsing things so they can make money off of pain, off of sorrow, off of collapsing alliances, collapsing countries, collapsing currencies around the world. This shit is all a game. Hey, Fuzzy. None of this shit is real. I want to show you all something else. Because this was 2016, as we can see right here. I want to show you all something else. And this is what these people truly think about you. All right. Let's zoom in for maximum effect. This is another file. This is all stuff that I've taken from this recent drop. Okay. So the date of this conversation was February 3rd, 2011. Okay. So this person, Barry Josephson, okay, Barry Josephson, okay. So the conversation was about getting someone to getting this young girl to um be in a movie or star for a photo shoot or whatever. Okay. So he says, Jeffrey, how old is she now? Best, Barry J. Jeffrey Epstein says, this is your niece. 16. Thank you very much. Okay. Forwarded message because Jeffrey Epstein always sent a lot of stuff to himself. Okay. Her full name again, is she in New York for a few weeks? Sorry. Please have your office forward me her mom's contact information. A friend is shooting a feature in New York and I'll try to get her in. But this wasn't the part that fucked me up. This was the part. Because a lot of these are run on conversations. So the conspiracy theorists allegedly about Bill Gates and shit is true. But this is what these people think of us. Okay. So the person, Barry Josephson, wrote to him. He says, cool, I'm excited. This is the part right here. Also, I've been thinking a lot about that question you asked Bill Gates. How do we get rid of poor people as a whole? And I have an answer or comment regarding that for you. When can I call you today to discuss this? How do we get rid of poor people as a whole? A question that you asked Bill Gates. How do we get rid of poor people as a whole? I want y'all to sit with that. How do you get rid of poor people as a whole? And he says, when I call you today to discuss this, and Jeffrey Epstein says, anytime you can always call. This is my home number, or make sure you have my cell. And then the guy, Barry Josephson, he says, I'll call you if I have a free day today or after basketball around 4. Jeffrey Epstein says, okay, he is coming back in March for a day with me so you can ask him more questions. So Jeffrey Epstein is saying Bill Gates is coming back. I'm guessing it's Bill Gates. Is also coming back in March for a day with me so you can ask him more questions. Ask him more questions about how do we get rid of poor people as a whole. Thinking a lot about that question that you asked Bill Gates. How do we get rid of poor people as a whole? I don't know how you get rid of them. This is a conversation. How you get rid of poor people as a whole. Yes, they have no humanity. Kevin got the thinking emojis. I mean, I don't know. Y'all want to answer the question? How do you get rid of How do you get rid of poor people as a whole? I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know how, but They trying to figure it out. They trying to figure it out. They trying to figure it out. So, um, I don't know what y'all think about that. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So this was something that I also found interesting. I'm trying to think which part was it? Because like I said, let's go to this one right here. So a lot of conversations that I see online, not necessarily specific to this, a lot of conversations that I see online, you know, talk about children, raising children, things like that, how expensive it is to raise children, things like that. And this is a file. This is a file number in case anyone wants to go look at it themselves. They can. Let me make this bigger for everyone. Okay. Like I said, this is the file number. Okay. So, Jeffrey Epstein, this was July of 2016. Subject mechanisms for learning. Okay. So, let's try to go back into the conversation. 3:02 a.m. Now, I don't know if they um this is still um some of the same ideas about IQ intelligence levels between quote unquote races. Okay. So on July 10th, 2016, Joshua Bach, okay, um, he wrote to Jeffrey Epstein. Joshua Bach is a German cognitive scientist. Okay. German cognitive scientist, AI researcher, all like that. So Jeffrey Epstein he rubbed shoulders and talked to a lot of people. Thank you for your support and encouragement, even where I fail. I will spell out today's argument a bit better and cohesive when I get to it. Okay. Okay. The bootstrapping of cognition works layer by layer during the first 20 years of our life. Each layer takes between a few months and a few years to train in humans. Okay. First few layers are simple perceptual stuff. The last ones learn social structure and self in society. Switching works with something like a genetic clock. Very slowly in humans, more quickly in other apes, very small, very fast in small mammals. As a result, human children take 9 months before their brains are mature enough to crawl and more than a year before they can walk. Many African populations are quite a bit faster. In the US, Black children outperform white children in motor development, even in very poor and socially disadvantaged households, but they lag behind and never catch up in cognitive development, even after controlling for family income. These people are still perpetuating These people are perpetuating the black people dumb argument, the eugenics argument. This was 2016. This isn't shit that has been eradicated. This is shit that is still in some circles, people still really believe this. Okay. Okay. So this was all the stuff that he was saying. Okay, you go back to so that's what he Joshua Bach wrote to Jeffrey. Okay, and then come up here. And these are some more thoughts I meant to send back for a long excuse me, for a long time. Exactly. I looked up the statistics. Black kids in the US have slower cognitive development and never catch up. I suspect this means their brains are slower at learning high level concepts because the low level structures are optimized for a shorter time, but they will keep the lead in motor development because it is easier to learn. They have more time and attention to practice once they get the structures in place. It could also be that they have an additional set of learning directives in place that adapts them better to a more hunting, running life style of life. Whereas Europeans had to adapt for identifying long term seasonal patterns, delayed gratification for agriculture. I myself believe that African music, Western music, Chinese music are a window into the structure of those layers. Western rigid, African primitive, Chinese nature based. I believe that symphonic movements describe your layering. They open with the basic simple melody. After it's learned, it's repeated and developed. Basically, black people, we got that good rhythm because that's how our brains are. African music has lots of beats and little development, no accident. It mirrors their learning process. Black people dumb. Maybe climate change is a good way of dealing with overpopulation. The Earth's forest fire, potentially a good thing for the species. So these people are, listen, listen. These people, this is what people are truly, this is what they are truly thinking and maybe plotting, maybe wanting to do um behind the scenes. Because they're definitely not telling us. They're not telling us. Definitely not telling us. But yeah, and I don't know either. I don't know either. Burry Muffin asks, sure, would like to know if he ever got that call and what was the so-called solution. Girl, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Now, what can $20,000 buy you? A whole lot, probably. A whole lot, probably. A whole lot, probably. Let me see if I can find because some of these are broken up across documents. Some of these are broken up across documents. Okay. So 17 a.m. Okay. What can $20,000 buy you? Let's get to it. Okay. So this is um let's make this bigger. And this is a conversation from 2010, okay? Al Seckel. Let's see who Al Seckel is. I got my phone up. Let's see if we can figure out who he is. Al Sickle. Okay, he died in we don't even know. An American collector. Okay, so that's who he is. It says Al Seckel was an American collector and popularizer of visual and other types of sensory illusions who wrote books about them. Okay. He was in the 80s. He was the co-founder and executive director of Southern California Skeptics. His news coverage arising from his connection to Jeffrey Epstein has stressed Seckel's misrepresentation of his education and credentials. Now, this guy, he died in 2015, Al Seckel. So this conversation is before he died, 5 years before he died. So he said, Jeff, this is at 1:17 a.m. Thought you would like to know, but your event is looking good for January, probably second weekend. I'll let you know. Confirmations of people who probably will be there. Waiting to hear back from Nathan. On another matter, would you be interested in having all that crap that comes up on a Google search with your name basically disappear? Pablos and I were talking about it, and we can make it happen for about $20,000 to $25,000. We know the right people to hire. So, if you are out here doing whatever and some news stories come up and you don't want that fuck shit to be on the internet, just find you somebody to pay $25,000 and you can get shit removed too. You can get it removed too. Let me start my car meat just real quick. Let me see if my meat done. Okay, yeah. Meat is good. I'm just gonna let it simmer a little bit more. So yeah, for $20,000 to $25,000, you too can have your kitty raised from the internet. So all of this, when we have conversation about, what can you find on the internet, what's real, what's not real, you just pay somebody to have shit disappear, or pay somebody to remove it. Okay, you can do that. None of this shit is real, and this was in 2010. This was in 2010. This was in 2010. Okay, so Jeffrey Epstein, he writes here. Okay, we're looking right here. He says yes. Okay, he says yes. And then he says, send the wire details. What should I expect as a result and in what time frame? Okay, this was at 4:41 a.m. 7:26 a.m. Al Seckel says, is your yes to our hacking of the internet sites to cause all that crap to disappear, or about the island gig where you were being parsimonious as saying yes to all? If the former, let's start with $20,000 sent to my account, and Pablos and I will hire and put together the people to do it. Also goes for future postings. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein, he, and then he's just like, do we need positive articles to displace the bad ones? Okay. The world is not real. Okay. And this is continuation of the conversation here. Okay. Pablo's going to call you in a few. He said, hi, Jeff. We got things started on this end. Your package is getting shipped tomorrow by FedEx to your New York address. You get Isabel's wife. So, yeah. Absolutely. And this is what's happening now. This is exactly what's happening now. This is exactly what's happening now. So all these people playing with the AI and shit like that. We're going to play with AI. We're going to make some AI pictures. We're going to do all this shit. First of all, this AI is taking up all the drinking water. So there's a possibility that, I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but we kind of need water to live. Okay. So playing with this AI and shit and these data centers, people who live in Georgia are already saying, Kevin, I don't know if you have Georgia power, but listen, the complaints that I'm hearing out of my people out of the Atlanta area, Georgia power bills are so fucking high. But that is because, and this is in all these different places, here in California too, PG&E, right? All these AI data centers, and they are passing on the cost of running these AI data centers onto the consumer. But keep playing with this fucking AI. Not only are they passing it on to you when the shit is sky fucking high, there's no water. And they're using all this AI. Like people, the conversation is, oh, AI, is it good? Is it bad? People, they're using the AI to get rid of these jobs, and the layoffs are coming. Where are all these extra millions of people gonna get these jobs if ain't nobody hiring? Then you'll be out here forced to work at McDonald's because you can't get anything else. Your bills be high as fuck, you might get evicted. Keep playing with this fucking AI. But yeah, so this is what they are doing. This is what they are doing. Okay. So this I saw. Let's go on to the next one. And we're looking at things because all of this, I'm making a point by going through these various types of emails. I'm making a point. I'm making a point. Let me go here. Because when I tell you I got like 50 tabs open up on this browser. Okay. Larry Summers. Okay, this is a conversation that Jeffrey Epstein sent to Larry Summers. Larry Summers is an economist and former United States Secretary of the Treasury. He's still alive. He's still alive. He was the 71st United States Secretary of Treasury from 1999 to 2001. This man is still alive. He was also director of the National Economic Council of the United States. So, this was 2013. But let's just get into this. Share this tab instead. And this is a document from there. Let me make this bigger so everyone can see. This is the document number here. Okay. From Ed, and they're so fucking stupid. They said that they thought they were blanking this out right here from Ed blank, but if you see right here, Edward J. Epstein. Okay. Okay. What's behind the Pope's resignation? Oh, because Pope Benedict in 2013, it was cited that um he resigned. And I'm not saying this is true or not, but these are private conversations, so I'm going to assume that this is true because I don't think they ever thought that this stuff would be released. So Pope Benedict the 16th resigned on February 28, 2013 due to rapidly declining physical and mental health. Okay, so he stepped down. That was the first time a pope has stepped down in like, I think I was reading 600 years or something like that. But anything behind the pope's resignation, not the sudden retirement, but the change in leadership at the institute or works of religion. which is the Vatican Bank. Which is the Vatican Bank. Because of the Vatican's status as a sovereign country, it is exempt from transparency rules of not only Italy, because remember, Vatican is a landlocked country inside of Italy, inside of Rome, Italy, but of the European Union. This status allows its elite clients to evade any scrutiny in their money transfers. So fraud, hiding money, wiring money, but the regular person, you got to have a full accounting for your shit. But these other people, they get to wire money and fraud and all this shit secretly. Vatican Bank. Okay. So, according to him, the Vatican Bank president, Tedeschi, was fired after Italian authorities opened an investigation into a far-flung bribery scheme in which he was allegedly involved. 47 dossiers, including compromising about internal enemies in the Vatican, were found in a search of his home. They had instructions on how they were to be used in case something happened to him. Okay, he revealed that his concern was that he would be assassinated because he knew the Vatican's secrets. Okay. It was at this point the all-powerful College of Cardinals, in one of the last acts of the Benedict papacy, okay, Pope Benedict the 16th, appointed a German lawyer, Ernst von Freiberg, as president of the bank. So some shady shit was going down. College of Cardinals, they hired a lawyer to figure out what was going on. And then came the extraordinary resignation of Pope Benedict. Okay. And so this was from Ed to Jeffrey Epstein, February 21st, 2013, 9:37 p.m. And then he forwarded this response to Larry Summers. Jeffrey Epstein sent it to Larry Summers. This is the same date, just a little while later. Response to your question last week about why the Pope resigned. To Larry Summers, who was over Treasury stuff for the United States. Do not use ChatGPT for your research. ChatGPT hallucinates. ChatGPT lies. This is artificial intelligence. Why you think what's her name? Kim Kardashian talking about she failed her test because ChatGPT was telling her a bunch of wrong shit. Don't be using this shit. I mean, you can do what you want, but I need for you all to understand, especially those of you who have children. I don't have any children. Whenever I go on to glory, that's when I'm going to go. So I don't have any children to quote unquote, I don't want to say worry, but for those of you who have children and subsequently grandchildren, okay. These AI data centers are sucking the water out of the ground, out of the land. You need water. We need water. Chat GPT and shit lies. It hallucinates. Go get you some. Go look up the books on Google and go get the books yourself and just read the books. But yeah, so Chat GPT is AI. So I want you all to just, like I said, understand the scope of things. Understand the scope of things. Let me see if I can find this one other thing. it was something else. I don't have it right here, but oh, let me show this right here. Let me show this right here. Where is it at? I got all these tabs open. But do you all understand? Are you all understanding that in addition to the in addition to the depravity, in addition to the grape, in addition to the sex trafficking, in addition to all of this shit is at a higher level. And this is why they did not want to release because they don't want you to know shit ain't real. This whole shit is a fucking construct. And they are playing with it, playing with us. Okay. If you understand what's going on right now financially, the dollar, the United States dollar is losing its value. They are doing this. These people are doing this. These people are doing this. Changing, Jeffrey Epstein was buying search results. The alleged grapes, the sex trafficking, the torture, the allegedly having people killed if they say something. I want let me see if I can find this other one because this one was real sick and this shit was this shit is sick. Um Now I'm not there isn't anything that completely and they're changing they're starting to change stuff in these file sets. And let me bring this up. Now, I've seen the conversations around this. I can't tell you either way, yes or no, if this is what they were thinking. But I want you to look at this. Okay. This is Mark Tramo. Mark Tramo currently works for UCLA. Let me see. Mark Tramo. He is a neurologist. He's a professor at UCLA. And there are plenty of links to Ivy League institutions, people on these boards, they're offering their advice, but sick ass shit. Now, I want you all to, like I said, this is a trigger warning. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. This is a trigger warning. Again, Mark Tramo, he's a neurologist. He's a UCLA professor. You can go look his name up right now. You're going to see the stories from like a day or two ago. He's a board certified neurologist in Thousand Oaks, California. He has experience treating, multiple sclerosis, stuff like that. He's a neurologist. This is a trigger warning. I'm not saying that this is I'm not putting this on people, but I just want you to think about this in terms of the degeneracy. And hold on. P.S. Was just reading today that newborns will suck on a pacifier more vigorously if it triggers a playback of a recording of his mother's voice than another woman's voice. Have you read David Brooks' Social Animal? It was number one in New York Times book for quite a while. I don't know what the previous conversation was potentially about, but if we see depravity in terms of children, what's to say that these degenerates won't go one step further? I'm not saying this is what they've done, but this right here, I want you all to think about that. Why would someone be asking about a newborn and how they suck vigorously? Again, I'm not saying that they are. I'm just the depravity of this shit. And like I said, Mark Tramo, he's currently employed at UCLA. You can go Google right now on your own and you can see how people are calling for like okay. So, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. Mhm. 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 So, again, I say all this to say, and I say all this to say that the world that you think exists is I mean, if you think that the world is just full of degeneracy and it's a bunch of fuck shit going on and people aren't doing anything about it, you will be correct. You will be correct. You will be correct. You will be correct. So I mean, Q, you're showing us all of this stuff. We know they're sexual degenerates, but these are people out here playing with uh countries, destabilizing countries. Okay. I've seen documents about purposely destabilizing the Middle East. I've seen all types of shit. I've seen all types of shit. Something else that came out from these files is, QAnon and Pizzagate and all that stuff. Yeah, Steve Bannon came up with that per the files. Per these files, it is said that Steve Bannon came up with that to try and take the heat off of Trump, if I'm remembering correctly. But then you have all these files out here and it's them. It's them. In addition to, let me see this other one. Where's it at? Um, I have a bunch of files open. Let me see if I can find it, pull it up. All these quote unquote conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Baby, it's real. It's real. Um, Let me see if I have it. Let me see if I can search for it real quick. Because when you actually go in here, it's yeah, okay, here it is. Let me see. I want you all to also understand the game. Oh, let me share this one because I want you all to understand when we see the people talking about it's them people. Okay, 8:15. When we see people saying that, oh, it's them people who do these things, I'm not saying that, that is completely the case, but I want you to understand again. Okay. So this is from the files. Let me zoom out one. Okay, this is here. So when they say like a certain people do things, run things, conspiracy theory. Okay, let's look at this. June 2018, from Jeffrey Epstein to Jeffrey Epstein. So at my dinner table, okay, because he sends stuff to himself all the time. At my dinner table, I was asked, why are you right wing guys so anti Semitic? And one said, historically, we all know it's actually been them people behind the government's actually pulling the strings. I said, like you. And one pointed to me, and they all started to roar with laughter. Me. And one guy said, how do you explain? And in only 3 days, there have been princes, prime ministers, other ministers, emissaries, presidents were, guilty. So funny. I wish you were like, I'm not saying that to go out and start hating people. I'm not saying that, but I want you all to understand something that a lot of what we um think about things, a lot of what we think about things is not real. Okay. A lot of what we think about things isn't real. And I also say that to say that you really have to look into history and see some of the things that are going on. Okay. Because the Rothschilds helped to create Israel. So you gotta go back through history and look. So anywho, I'm gonna drop the link for a quick minute and see if anyone has anything they want to say. Excuse me. See if anyone has anything they want to say or ask as it pertains to what I've seen in these files. And again, it's some things that I have seen um in the last drop that I think was from like November. Um, you know, like I said, we cannot get through everything because there are thousands and millions of files. We can't get through everything. But yeah. Let me see if I can show this one real quick. Let me show this real quick. Um, let me go back to here because I want you to see something else that I saw. Um, and this was from the last drop from like I think it was the last drop from yeah, it was the last drop. Let me see if I can and I see you in here. Hold on one second. Let me add this in here. All right. Let me see if you all can see. Okay, Sexy RN is here. But let me before you come up, Sexy RN, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger so that people can see view. Let me zoom in. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is an old one and you can't see, but this was I screenshotted this and you can see like my different tabs up here at the top when I was screenshotting this. Okay, and this was from the House Oversight PDF, so you can see the actual PDF text one right here. So you can go look at that yourself. From Jeffrey Epstein, sent on February 8th, 2017, 9:53 a.m. to Larry Summers, okay, Treasury person for the United States. Recall, I've told you, I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump. Not one decent cell in his body. So, yes, dangerous. So, all these people out here talking about, oh, you just got, listen, if this man is such a damn degenerate, if Jeffrey Epstein is such a damn degenerate doing terrible shit, and he's calling, Jeffrey Epstein is calling Trump fucking, we have to call people dangerous when they are. So I'll just let y'all sit with that. Hey girl, hey sexy Aria, how are you? I'm
Uh,
sorry, I just got to show that.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm just making sure. It's funny. I was having this conversation with my son, not about this. It's funny, all this, how everything is fake and nothing is real. And once
Yeah,
you realize that, it just changes everything and your whole
yeah,
perspective. And this is just more evidence. And this is just mind blowing. I mean, it's not shocking, but it is shocking
yeah.
that people can be that sick. I mean, you're talking about a baby, a newborn, and how they, oh,
Yes, yes. It's so, and like I
I
said,
can't.
this is just some of the stuff that I have found because it's I had to take some time, like I would read some stuff and then I would sit back like I know you fucking lying. And then like I would talk to my husband about it and he's just like, what? And I'm just like, yes, like you have to take it in spades and like the degeneracy and the way that they plot and plan on people in the world is absolutely disgusting. But yeah, everything isn't real. Excuse me, this shit is not real. It's not
No,
real.
but the things that
So
they were saying is real to them, and that's just disturbing. And it's funny how, I mean, not that it has anything to do with this, but doesn't it though? All these so-called people like Corey Holcomb are now trying to push this agenda that women are supposed to be basically what they wanted girls to be to them. So now
yeah,
you have people pushing that agenda publicly, and it all stems, things tend to fall down, and that's what it's doing, and it's crazy.
yeah.
Oh, it's sick.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I
It's sick. I mean, I've seen things, where they're talking about and get the our media here in the United States is not covering this. But around the world, other governments are just like, "Wait a minute. We need to call these people in for investigations." So it just goes to show you how the United States is fucking sick. It's fucking sick. These
very.
people, the FBI, Department of Justice, they had all of this information. Why are y'all not? I have seen um conversations about because people focus on Little St. James, US Virgin Islands, that he had. That man had a fucking ranch, Zorro Ranch, in either Arizona or New Mexico. And allegedly, I don't know for sure. I don't know what's the truth or not. Allegedly, there are bodies buried out there. And people have been calling the sheriff's department for the county that Zorro Ranch is, and the sheriff's department saying, no, we can't go out there and look. Go get some fucking cadaver dogs and go sniff around because there is no statute of limitations on murder. And this is the shit that I'm saying. And it's just like, if nothing is there, then nothing is there. But at least go and investigate. They talking about no, we can't do anything. And I'm get me off of this planet. Get me off
Right.
of this fucking planet. Like, but and the thing about it is, if it was you or if it was me, they'd go looking. But because it's
Correct.
these people, they don't. That's what I'm saying. Get me off this planet. Nothing is real. Like nothing is real.
No,
Like
it's not.
all shit is fake. The same, they came up with, credit scores and shit like that. All this shit is fake. All of
It
it's fake.
is. But speaking of the Virgin Islands, I'm waiting to see if they find, well, I guess I could look myself, I've been kind of busy, but to find if even Hillary was there because she would always go to the Virgin Islands with Bill.
Yeah,
I remember when
and
I
and
took a
Biden goes
tour
there
there.
too. Biden
Hmm.
likes to go to he likes to go to St. Croix. He's been going
Hmm.
there for years because that's where my husband is from. My husband is from St. Croix. And like he would go like stay at like the Buccaneer, which is one of the nicer upscale hotels there or whatever. So a lot of people go to the Virgin Islands and but the thing about it is, and like there were I remember seeing who was it? The black woman, I forgot what her official title was, but I don't know if she was like the prosecutor or attorney general or something for the Virgin Islands. She was trying to look into the shit
Hmm.
and they had her stop.
Hmm.
They had her stop. So it's just like, you know,
Spiritually, esoterically, I believe that that's why. Do you remember that year when St. Thomas and St. Croix, but more St. Thomas was hit with hurricanes back to back to back and
mhm,
destroyed St. Thomas? And I honestly believe that those hurricanes hit because our people were like, no, you better stop those people from doing that on that island.
listen, listen. It's just it's mind-boggling. I mean, and the other things in these files that we found out that yes, he was a Mossad agent, which I knew I had that theory a few years ago. Yes, Mossad agents, because Ghislaine Maxwell, her father was Mossad.
Hmm.
Okay. Her father was so all of this, I don't know if this is compromise. I don't know if this is blackmail, whatever it is, but all this shit, like I said, I understand why in the Christian Bible, God was just like, a flood and just wash all this shit away because this shit is the levels of depravity and the levels of how they manipulate the world. And then we're just the innocent bystanders of it is astronomical. It's out of this world. It's
It is.
astronomical and out of this world. And it's disgusting. And the same thing, like in the old files, the birthday book and all like that. Like, and they're the ones they are absolutely out here astrology and magic and shit like that. Now, it is a file in there as it pertains to one of his bank accounts where it says ball, supposedly some ancient god deity or whatever. So this is where people are getting the conversations now around satanic pedophile elite ring trafficking ring or whatever. And I looked at the file. I saw it myself. They said it's a mistype. Now, if you're looking at your keyboard, if you type B is at the bottom. To type ball is BAAL. That's not the same as typing BANK because your fingers got to move back across the keyboard.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not saying this is what these people are doing, but I find it interesting that some of this disgusting shit is absolutely in the esoteric. But I told you all, and I've been telling y'all since I've been on YouTube, these people out here are absolutely, you know, using astrology and doing magic and shit like that themselves. I mean, some of the shit that Jeffrey Epstein was into, he wants to see what consciousness is. Um, he was talking to someone that was looking into indigenous spiritual practices from the African country of Gabon. So these people are into all types of things. And there's no telling if we're going to get all of this, but like I said, with 3 million file drops on January 31st, you can't get through everything, and some things are duplicates, but the shit that's in here, him saying that he represents the Rothschilds and him having actual conversations with people of the Rothschilds family. Like I said, the Rothschilds were the one who helped to create Israel, with World War II. So all these, and that is historical fact.
Yes.
So, you know, when we're out here talking about or the conspiracy theories that a certain group of people run the world, well, baby, I don't know, but this man, you know, and his you know, wanting to have like a human bio lab and him wanting to like have all these children and like he's obsessed with like DNA and like all types like this shit is yeah.
This
So
is
yeah,
the
get me
word
off of this
yet for
planet.
what for what
Give me
this is.
get me off of this planet because I am so done. And then people out here talking about, oh, that's not what that means. And that's listen, I'm tired of people because too many people they've gotten society to the point where you're not supposed to believe what you see and what you read and things that are, you know what I'm saying? This whole we don't know what's real or not. It is not it's not lost on me that um all this stuff is released when we're at the height of AI and you can just create some of anything, right? It's not lost on me that this is where we are right now. Right. Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, it's
Just come to the conclusion that people want to live in their delusion, because if you take away their delusion, it's almost like you take away their identity. If everything they believed and they realize these people are just playing us, then their whole identity is gone. I think that's why people stay dumb.
yeah.
Because I've always told people I don't do Democrat, Republican. I don't do that because at the end of the day, they're all friends. We're not friends with them. They're friends with each other. And in my mind, they're all sitting in a room plotting. That's my
Yeah.
mind because they
Yeah.
all give each other raises every year. They're arguing every year, but not one senator or House person representative has ever said, no, we're not going to give ourselves a raise this year. No, we're going to stop making Americans pay for health insurance while
Yeah.
they don't have any health insurance. No one has ever said that. So they're all in agreement. They just argue on purpose. Maybe some of
Right.
them are sincere. I don't believe it. I think
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, and that's what I'm saying, just, like, looking at this, and it's just like, I hope hopefully, like, we are really at a precipice right now, where as humanity, we have to those of us who are not part of this club and it's so funny how people who say these things, you know, they end up dying. Like, I remember, you know, I'm showing my age here, but I know you're older than me, like, the comedian George Carlin, like, he was always saying, "It's a big
mhm,
club and you're not in it."
mhm.
It's a big club and you're not in it, and this just goes to show. Because let me show this right here. Let me show actually let me just pull up the page with where you can actually go and search because I want you all to see which one is the search page. I gotta find one with black arrow. I literally have like I don't know how many tabs open right now. Okay. So this is let me show the page so everyone can see present or invite share screen. This one. Okay. You literally can go in here. It's all types of shit here. We're on the actual website, US Department of Justice. So you go down here. And what's crazy is when you go to search stuff here, they got the nerve to ask you if you 18 years old. They got the nerve to ask you if you're 18 years old to look at these files. But so you want consent, age of consent for this, but you're not trying to go after people who were doing shit to underage people? Like, get me off this fucking planet. So yeah, you can type in let's see who is someone. Let's try Larry Summers. And you'll see all of the shit showing 1 to 10 of 5,000 results. So there is no way to get through all of this unless you write like a script or a program to like download all of this. Um, because it's a lot. It's a lot. Now back in um back in November when I was in Salt Lake City, Utah, I was searching things on this site. And this person put together this searchable of like the files, but you can search things by name here. And I can give this link to whoever one wants it so they can go look themselves. Because this right here is different from the Department of Justice. This is from what we're looking at right now is from the files that dropped, I think it was like October or November. But look at all these people. Podesta, all these people that he emailed and was Harry Reid was what was he, the senator or governor of Nevada or something like that? Harvey Weinstein, Mike Pence, Bernie Sanders, like all these people, they were talking to people. He was talking to people or emailing with people or, all these different people. But yeah, you can absolutely search this. Absolutely search this. Putin, Barack Obama. I think I saw something where Jeffrey Epstein was just like, "Oh, I can't remember if I'm not sure if I'm remembering it correctly, but it was something where it was just like, oh, I don't know who will give me a pardon." Obama said that he would because these charges weren't federal. So I'm just like, if that is true, if that is the case, it's all y'all. It's everybody. It's everybody. So, um,
Wait, he said he would pardon?
something that I read, I have to go back and find it,
Oh.
where it was a
For
conversation
for these type of crimes because it's not federal.
Jeffrey Epstein was talking to someone. I saw it today. Jeffrey Epstein was talking in an email conversation with someone, and he was saying that Obama's, I don't know what's true or not. He was saying that Obama said he would pardon him for some things because, something about stuff being federal. I have to go back and find it. I have to go back and find it. So I have to go back and find it. So, like I said, all this shit is fake. So the only thing that I can say is like we as humans, we have to understand that we need to band together and fight against these people because they're trying to figure out how to get rid of us. When we all talk about the conspiracy theories of population control, population decline, they're trying to figure out how to get rid of us. How can we get rid of the pores? Okay, I showed you all that tonight. How do we get rid of the pores? They're manipulating governments, they're manipulating currencies, they are doing stuff to destabilize countries. And this shit is a game to them. It's a game to them. And then on top of that, they're doing all this other sexual degeneracy.
That is, ooh,
So yeah. So like I said, it's yeah. And and as I find more stuff, I'll probably like put document links and stuff like that. But I just wanted to show you all just some of the things that I have found. I mean, I have found other stuff where he was looking into magic, and they were talking about this young woman who was being mentored, and they think that she was like a psychic, and this organization that uses enhanced energetic and psychic readings to like change things at companies. It was called alternate paradigms. If you look up alternate paradigms yourself, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting on the internet. Very, very interesting. Um, so yeah, he was into a lot. Into a lot. There was another file from dataset 8 where people were saying that they were being tortured, kept in horse-like stalls at an underground location in the US Virgin Islands. Listen, it's a whole bunch of stuff. It's a whole bunch of stuff. So, like I said, I just wanted to share some of the stuff with y'all. And like, I really want y'all to just focus in on none of this shit is real. And I want you to think about what life means to you. And I want you to understand that a lot of shit that's happening is being orchestrated. The hate against illegal immigrants, they want to return us to tribalism so they can keep doing bullshit behind the scenes. They don't want any more globalization. They're playing with stock markets. They're playing like all of this shit. So I want you all to understand this. and understand that these files reveal something about the world, and it's not just about the sexual depravity and degeneracy, because this is what they want you to stick on. They want you to stick on the victims and survivors, and those people do need justice. But this is bigger than that. Bigger than that. So, yeah, girl. So, yeah. Any last words before I get out of here? I'm going to get out of here because I need to eat my dinner. I'm going to get out of here, eat my dinner, and kick on the phone with my husband. Any last
Um,
words before I get out of here, girl?
thank you for going through the files for us.
And I'm
Remember
still.
her Cash App. Remember her Cash App and some
Oh
super
yes, please, yeah.
chat.
Let me put this cash up. I didn't even think about it.
Please, because that's a
Um,
lot of work and that's a lot of evil being
yeah,
evil energy being that
it,
you're dealing with. So
it is. I'm just like, yeah, it's crazy, but I'm gonna keep going through stuff, and I'm gonna keep finding stuff when I find stuff. Especially like the geopolitical stuff, because again, like I was saying the other day, they're orchestrating the collapse of countries and societies and stuff. And then when it comes to war, we, the people, are the ones whose brothers and sisters and uncles and nephews are out here going out to these wars, and they're out here playing in other people's countries. They're out here doing shit. And then our people go to war, not them, not them. Our people go to war, our loved ones go to war, and they're the ones who get killed and who die, right? So I say all that to say I want you all to understand the bigger picture, that this is a global game that these people are playing. A global game. So I will definitely have more stuff when I find more stuff. I might do another live about this. Not this week. Maybe I need some time. Um I need some time, but yeah. So please, if you learn something, if you, I don't want to say enjoyed this or whatever, but please like and describe this. Yeah, yeah. So
mm.
yeah, y'all. So all right, y'all. So
Well,
I'm
thank
gonna
you.
get
Have a
out of
good
here.
night.
Yeah, you have a good night too, boo. You have a good night too. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Um, I'm gonna get out of here and yeah, and go eat some dinner, and I'm gonna rest. But I'll be back tomorrow with some more content, and we'll go over some more things. So thank you all so much for being here. Feel free to take a spiritual cleansing bath or shower or burn some sage or whatever it is you need to do, because this is a lot and it's heavy, and it's been heavy on me as well. So, so I love y'all. I'm gonna see y'all in these streets tomorrow. Okay.